and welcome to, I think, the second now guide of the old world on the Bearfoot Miniatures channel. I'm joined today by dwarf in stature, Ian.
If you
Tian,
haven't
in
watched it
fact.
already, if you haven't watched it already, the battle report with us two, I'm barely shorter than you. So
No,
calling him dwarf.
I was just saying it to say something, It's, it's, I imagine it fell flat, but yeah. So me and
Someone laughed somewhere.
someone somewhere. We're going to be doing the dwarf section, and that's because, like, Ian, you're most experienced with dwarfs out of, well, certainly out of the units that are out right now.
Yeah, with a 15-year hiatus between fifth and sixth, and then this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we've been having many a game since the old world dropped. So hopefully we've got a good handle on it and how the rules are going to interact now. And yeah, let's just get into it. So we're going to go over the dwarf special rules first, then the lords, and that'll give you an idea of them when we talk about I say lords characters, when we talk about
yeah,
the runic items. And it's normally I wouldn't go over all the magic items, like, because you've got the generic section and the thing, but it's such a key component of this list. It's going to be on everything that I
yeah.
think we do it then. Yeah, if you want to listen to this in audio format, for all the Patreon subscribers, I've done a podcast version of this that'll just update in the podcast screen. If not, let's get into it. So, Ian, you've got
Yeah,
the death blow rule coming first for dwarfs in the special rules. This is only
yeah,
slayers, isn't it, that really have this?
yeah. It's only Slayers. I haven't seen another way for us to get it.
Right. So
And
let's skip that till slayers then. Just anything
yeah,
that's
okay.
only on a single type of unit, let's just skip.
Fair enough.
Uh, Dwarf crafted. This is going to be on multiple shooting units. The
Yeah,
-1 to hit for a standard shoot charge reaction doesn't apply. Uh,
yeah. So excellent roll with as we discovered in our game, the standard shoot reaction adding to your combat res,
that's
and th-
mental. It's
and
mental.
then further ignoring that -1 for the standard shoot reaction. So someone's probably going to be within 12 of handguns or 15 of crossbows, and you're just fours to hit, probably threes or fours to wound. Absolutely excellent, excellent rule.
Yeah, and so it's like having an additional attack
Yeah,
at
yeah,
your
yeah.
ballistic skill for all of those quarrelers and thunderers.
At initiative 11,
Yes.
because they're not even hitting you back. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Gromril armor. This appears on things like iron breakers and basically all your
Yeah,
characters.
a lot of the characters, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a reroll a failed armor save of one, of a natural one. Um, with saves being capped at two, I think it's a good roll. But if it was an older edition, it would be where it's like, oh, I have a -4 save. It's like, cool, always a 2-up rerollable. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
It
it's just a
helps.
nice little thing to have on
Yeah,
everyone that's important, essentially.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so good, but not amazing.
No, and I think it'll tie into when we get to the rune section and what you can do with armor saves in the characters section. That's when it'll start sort of really rolling into things rather than just looking at it as a single special rule.
Yeah,
Gromril weapons, -1 armor piercing on all your hand weapons. And that's not any other weapon, not additional hand weapons, because that's a different weapon profile,
yeah,
but just when you're using a hand weapon with, say, a shield, like a lot of dwarf, I'm going to say warriors, but a lot of dwarf infantry
yeah.
are going to really benefit from this. Really
Yeah, I'm
benefit.
not sure which units have it. I'm not sure if it's a flat rule for everyone. Um, but certainly characters have it. But as we go through the units, I think we'll see where it's relevant.
Yeah.
But
So
it's a good general rule to have.
iron breakers have it, long beards have it. So Ironbreakers and Longbeards from like the general infantry. Now,
Cool. So like elite up, I guess.
yeah, and I think one of the things that this really ties into with dwarves is a lot of your units have shield wall, so that means you give ground rather than fall back in
Or
good
back in good.
order
Yeah.
for Gobo.
For the go. Yeah.
Yes, which is really good. So it just negates
Yep.
your opponent's rolling charge, so you only get charged in the first round of combat, and it will really come off in units like Longbeards, where if you use their shields, hand weapons, or iron breakers, you're stubborn. You just get pushed back a little bit, don't care,
Yeah.
and next turn you're on equal footing with a cavalry unit that's no longer charging.
And you're already strength 4. So you're like a human with a cavalry spear on a horse charging.
Yeah,
Like your strength 4 AP1. Like it's great. Why not?
yeah, and I think it's something that comes out more than say like ensorcelled weapons on chaos,
Yeah.
because you may want to, or you're going to be charging more and you're a more aggressive army in at least the charge bit of it. It's something that for dwarves using that shield is going to play into your special rules and sort of
Yeah.
stoic defense more than
Yeah.
me wanting to use a halberd or great weapon with chaos might.
Yeah. Chaos also get the option of quite often 2 hand weapons. So those 2 attacks is probably more favorable than 1 attack with AP1.
But, well,
Like the
depending,
chaos, like
yeah,
chaos have to choose, whereas dwarves haven't got the option. It's either a great weapon or that +1 save and -1 AP
yeah, and you
with a
can't
hand
use your
weapon.
shield wall rule while using a great weapon.
True, yeah.
So even if you upgrade with that, and you upgrade with shields because you want to be more survivable versus shooting, it all ties back into this Grom with weapons, giving you a really good secondary option.
Yep.
So
Spent a long time
resolute,
thinking about a rule that loads of armies seem to have.
but I think it ties into the dwarf's play style more than a lot
Yeah.
of other things, like a lot of other armies at least.
Yeah.
So resolute,
Yeah. Short legs.
just
What did
said
it
in a
used to
nice
be?
way, is I'm just going to say it's stunty rule. It's the stunty rule.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is a
Natural
-1 modifier.
sprinters, and clearly a 2d6 roll is long distance.
-1 modifier to the result of any flee roll or pursuit roll to a minimum of 1. So yeah, you can just get if you roll 2 and then it goes to a 1, your opponent can't fail to catch you.
Yeah, and I think this is just the flip side of what across the army is. Well, your leadership 9 across the entire army, which is a massive benefit. This is just then the flip side of that, in that it's just a bit harder when
Yeah.
you do run away. Especially
Yeah,
now
not
with.
everything. I
No, like
but
your gyrocopters aren't, right? But
think it was just gyros, yeah, or gyro bombers as well.
yeah,
But
so like, I don't think it's that big of a downside now that
not
Fagobo
really.
is
Yeah,
happening and you just like fall back in good order on unless you roll like an 11 or a 10 if you've not got a character in range.
yeah. Well, so a thing to note as well, if you it could play into your favor slightly because if you fall back in good order and you roll a 3, so a 3 and a 1 or whatever, and you go back 3, your dwarves now only go back 2. So an opponent pursuing into you doesn't get their impact hits, doesn't get X, Y, Z. Like they only get +2 initiative and plus instead of +3. So there's a
So
little,
actually, a lot of the time, then, because most of the time you'll be falling back in good order, much more often
yeah.
than you'll just be fleeing. It's so it is playing. I never realised that actually.
An average roll is your falling back in good order with an average 3.5 is actually better for you because your opponent's probably not could not get their impact hits and stuff, which is cool.
Mental. Then rune law, which is essentially just your rune smiths and rune lord counting as wizards for
Yeah,
purposes of dispelling.
yeah, cool.
Yeah, like there's not much to say on that, is there? Um,
Yeah,
it ties into the rest of your army having a little bit of magic resistance as well, like helping out with resisting enemy spells. But
Yeah,
really, we all knew this one was going to be there, right?
it's it's kind of just icing on a cake of a great unit, as we'll find out in the hero section. But yeah, runesmiths, etc. are why wouldn't you take it? And also they can now, well, they can dispel also. So yeah, that's really good.
Right. Well, shall we get into the character section then?
We should, we should.
Right. So first we have dwarf lords
Yeah,
and thanes as well. So kings and thanes.
they. I am looking at the book on my phone. I'm not just reading messages.
So essentially, these
I-
are your characters that kind of be everywhere. Your king is absolutely
yeah,
nails, I would
yeah,
say.
very good.
It's
I think it's the same stat line that Dwarf Kings have had. Oh no,
forever.
apart from Initiative 4. Have they always been Initiative 4?
No, I think the initiative has gone up as well as weapon
Yeah.
skill. Because I think dwarf lords used to only be weapon skill 6, at least in
Oh, I don't
Civ.
reckon. Nah.
I
They used to be
maybe because
7. They're always like they just never get to combat, so the weapon skill could be 0. It's irrelevant.
it's
That's
complete.
what it used to be.
Yeah. Um,
But yeah, they are a dwarf hero. They have a great stat line. Toughness 5 base is just brilliant.
yes. Now, one thing
Uh,
to note, I think here is rallying cry on your leadership 10. So if you're ever running away and you're within
yeah,
10 inch or 12 inches of your general or 9 inches of a thane, you can make
yeah,
someone re-roll their leadership check to regroup.
yeah. Something we forgot in our game is
Go on.
the kings and thanes have ancestral grudge. So first round of a combat. Well, sorry, they have hatred enemy characters. So first round of a combat, they're re-rolling against characters, which for us was like 4 rounds of challenge that we were in.
Yes. Well, I
Because of
know
the
you
re
you made me give ground.
Oh, I did give
So
ground once. But
yeah, so
yeah,
that
a few
wouldn't
times
then
it
be
would have been irrelevant.
the first round of combat. However, if you fall back in good order, which after modifiers, like your leadership can still be quite low, even going off a leadership 10.
Yeah,
If you fall back in good order and then get charged into again from a pursuit roll, it's a new round of combat. So you get that hatred characters again. Yeah, that is really big, really
yeah,
big.
pretty cool.
Now you, I think, have a tendency to go great weapon on your
Yeah,
lord, and that's essentially because you're surviving anyway.
yeah, probably gonna live, but especially on shield bearers when you're 6 wounds.
Right. So
You,
shield bearers and
yeah,
oathstone. This, I think, is the discussion into how do you run your character.
um, for 60 points, you can get +3 wounds. So do that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and it
Oh,
also has other stuff. It's like, yeah, 60 points for 3 wounds. Okay.
yeah. Definitely better, I think, than the oathstone because just passing panic checks isn't that great when you're a dwarf, even if it's 15 points. The challenge never being able to be refused is quite good, but
Yeah,
actually, I think with a lord level character, a lot of the time you just want to vaporize a unit.
yeah.
Do you know, like you want to
So
be hitting into the unit, removing rank bonus. So a lot of the time you don't want to be issuing yourself, even if you might want to be taking the challenge if one is issued.
yeah, so on my king, I wouldn't take an Oathstone, um, but maybe on I don't know a Runesmith or something because they can take it. So maybe having one in the unit would be I don't know maybe
Do you
I
care that
personally
much
wouldn't.
about passing panic checks though? Especially when
Not
you get into runes like, sorry, not runes, but like rules like veteran on some
yeah
units, or off the top of my head, Longbeards have a rule that allow you to re-roll
yeah
panic checks.
used to be old grumblers, so we'll
Well, that's
assume
what I
it's
was
called
thinking, but I can't
yeah
remember the actual name of it. It's I don't think it's that useful. Whereas the shield bearers takes your amount of wounds on a dwarf lord to above that of a chaos lord. The additional 3 attacks, it's with a Gromril weapon. hand weapon.
At weapon skill 5, strength 4.
Yeah,
It's
so it's not even
yeah,
shabby. It's still
no,
quite a good amount of attacks.
yeah.
And I don't think there's any real downside to being on shield bearers.
It even takes up 4 squares. Takes up 4 bases because it's on a 50 by 50. So you kind of keep your rank bonus a little bit longer.
Yeah, yeah. So
I know.
it's
Yeah.
all gravy there, and I
All
think
good.
this
Yeah.
is the Dwarf Lord and Thane. I think are the ones that benefit most from runes. So although we sort of going to skip through, or not skip through the characters, but go through the characters a bit fast, I think it'll all come together and have a almost secondary discussion when we go to runes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's go on to the Anvil of Doom.
Yeah. I can see potential with this because it has some quite cool movement shenanigans and armor save shenanigans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
go
shall
on.
we? I'm sort of on the main page at the moment, but
Okay.
you're going to be using this largely for its spells. So it's
Yeah.
235 points. And the real interesting bit, other than the fact that it's a character, if you get charged, it's likely to be with a smaller unit. If it's with a big unit, you're going to die anyway. So the stat line's sort of here and there, but the
It
actual.
is unbreakable though,
Well, it's.
with a with a with a pretty good save. Well, it's a 4-up save with a 5-up ward.
Yeah, but
So
I think you're going to be. If it's a small unit, your character with an anvil guard with 5 attacks, weapon skill 6, are gonna go through that small unit. So it's protected from like small skirmishing units,
yeah,
ambushing gore, marauder fast cav, things like that. The normal war machine hunting stuff.
yeah.
But the stat line's not why you're here.
No, no.
It's just a nice little thing of protection for you. So you let's go
So
through
why
the
are you
runes.
thinking? Yeah. So it casts at a power level 3.
Yeah,
So basically a level 3 wizard.
yeah, because that's now it's
Um,
not just automatically goes off for a bound spell. You still roll your 2d6.
no,
Um,
no. If it
and not the three.
automatically went off, then
Well,
it
it used to be that you like bang, like I hit
yeah,
the rune on a
yeah,
like what was it like 3+ or 2+. I hit it with like low level bang, it's done. But now it's very wizardly. You
yeah,
rune of oath and steel. Now
yeah,
I think all of them have some utility, but I think this is very clutch. Rerolling your armor saves for a target unit within 24, or
yeah,
if you strike it, and it's sort of a bit random whether or not you strike it with low level or high level because it's just off the. You don't declare, you just roll one set of dice, and you either do one or the other.
yeah.
Um, Improving your armor saves by 1 is very
And
good,
re and it's still re-rolling as well.
and still
Because it does
re-rolling.
both. Yeah,
Yeah, so that means
yeah,
your iron breakers, which have got like full plate, get their shield and +1, go to a 2-up save. Longbeards with heavy armor, 5-up with a shield, 4-up, 3-up with this,
yeah.
and re-rolling the ones, very good as well.
Re-rolling failed.
Oh yeah, re-rolling failed, yeah.
Not even once. Yeah. So even like a fight, even if you're just relying on your heavy armor, that re-roll is now like almost a 50% save. It's like nearly a 4-up. Or is it better than a 4-up?
Yeah,
Whatever.
so a 5
It's a
re-rolling
number.
is, I think, slightly better than a 4-up, because it's like 33% plus 22%, because it's 33% of the fails.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Then yeah.
so 55% pass, so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah.
So the next spell is so yeah, Rune of Oath and Seal was 711. The next one is Rune of Hearth and Home. So that's a 7+. All dwarf units within 21 are immune to psychology.
Now,
Eh.
yes, and it comes back into the sort of dwarves are already leadership 9, I don't care
Yeah.
category. I think,
Yeah. But it goes off really low. So
yeah, but if
if
I'm
someone
doing this, I'm not doing something else because they're, or I'm not doing the oath and steel. Whereas
Yeah, because they're
banging
both
Oath and
enchantments, right?
Steel every time I need every turn,
Yeah.
it's just going to be really good.
I'm trying to think of an edge case for it. So like maybe if you're playing undead, maybe just to ignore all the fear everywhere.
I don't think I care about fear that much
Yeah, I
because
mean,
your leadership 9 already.
yeah,
It's nice to have as a little thing where like all the dwarves get inspired, but you're already
yeah.
pretty inspired already. So let's go on to the
Is
rune of haste and
enchantment?
urgency,
Yeah, enchantment is
command
the
phase.
command phase or whatever the
Yeah,
strategy phase. Yeah. Okay.
so
Cool.
it's before you charge. So yes, it could stop you from fearing someone, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So does leadership 9 with a BSB.
yeah, exactly. And
Whatever.
our veteran
Yeah.
though.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
So
Okay.
rune of haste and
Yeah.
urgency. I think this is the real sort of like the real one that you're coming for. I would say
Yeah.
conveyance. So it's done in the movement phase. So you can also do it in a turn that you've done oath in steel. 10 plus to cast. Target unit not fleeing that's already moved can move again.
Yeah.
This I think can catapult people up the board. And
Yeah.
it's always made dwarfs like faster than other races when you use this specific thing. But now in a game when you can disciplined into a line, move up, and then haste and urgency, you can discipline back into a fighting formation and move up again. Your dwarfs can be going 15 inches a turn,
Yeah.
motoring up the
Disciplined
board.
is drilled for everyone else.
Oh, drill. Yeah,
But
sorry.
yeah. So a 9-inch move with your. Let's go for Ironbreakers again. They're getting a lot of love. So 9-inch up the board, drill, go into your 8 wide, 7 wide, whatever you do, and then march another 6 if you want to. It's even if you don't use it for the march, even if you just use it for the drilled.
The double drill, yeah.
Well, yeah. So marching column, come back out, and then just stand an inch away from someone. Like you can't charge because of the you've missed the charge phase, but why not? Just stand an inch away.
Well, that's when like it's sort of like very aggressive defense
Yeah,
or very
yeah,
defensive attack, I suppose. Like
yeah,
whichever way you want to look at it. And I don't think you've got a load of special rules elsewhere that mean that you don't need to be the one charging all the time.
yeah. If you do it to their wizard bunker as well, then your Oathstone character issues a challenge that they can't refuse, and then you just get to slap a wizard. Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll feed you a champion, but next turn you get to slap a wizard. So
And then finally we've got Rune of Wrath and Ruin, Magic
yeah,
Missile. You're not moving anyway, so you don't care that you can't march and do a Magic Missile. 9
yep,
plus, so you're getting this on average because of your plus 3.
yep,
Range 27 is real good for a Magic Missile when most are 18, like Demonology is 18,
yeah.
Fireball's 18.
And 2d6 strength for AP2.
Yes, so that is the same damage level as the Demonology 18-inch range spell that's a 10 plus to cast. Very good. So doing 3 things a turn.
Yep, yeah, really good.
Yeah. Like so
But
you were a bit down on this when we were doing
I don't really
our
like it.
game.
I think it's 230 points.
235.
Yeah,
Yeah.
235 to just sit there, and you're always going to be doing something,
Yeah.
but you,
3 things a turn.
yeah, but I don't know. It seems more like the thing that you want to do well, you're now paying a huge point tax to make it do that thing better or get a chance to do that thing.
Well, you see, whereas I would sort of think of it like if I use the Rune of Wrath and Ruin to just blast a Marauder, whatever cavalry unit, I'm thinking Marauder Cavalry because I use Marauder Cavalry, but whatever fast cav unit that would normally be flanking and removing rank bonus from your army, you blast it with Rune of Wrath and Ruin, and you've already got half your points back. You just don't upgrade at all your anvil.
Yeah, yeah, all right, maybe.
So and that's one of the things as we go through this guide. Hopefully, me and Ian have different opinions because I think especially in the old world there isn't a right answer to anything.
Except,
More so to some other games.
yeah. Spamming gyrocopters is always the
That's
most fun thing to
yes, I suppose
implement.
that is the correct answer. So
Luckily, the old world is a two-player game though, so doing that,
yes, and it would be a very one-player game if you
you'll
do
literally
15
play one game
gyrocopters.
and then never play again.
Dwarf
So
runesmiths.
yeah, briefly touch on them earlier. I think they are excellent, absolutely. Or the simple fact that their stat line is a middling dwarf hero, which is fine. That's not where you're taking it. 120 points for the Lord or 65 for the Runesmith. You can upgrade them to have full plate armor, blah, blah, blah. But then you take it has Forge Fire. So, do you want to know what that does, Max?
Um, I already know what it does, so you just tell us,
Okay,
Ian.
so I'll recap. If this character joins a unit, the unit will gain Armor Bane 2 and Flaming Attacks. So, should the character leave the unit for any reason, it goes away.
Yeah, and
So,
armor bane stacks with other armor banes. So if I've
yeah,
already got armor bane, was it armor bane 1 on a great weapon off the top of my head?
yeah,
This armor
yeah,
bane 2 will be in addition to that.
yeah. So, on a unit of crossbows or handguns or something like that, your crossbow goes to Armor Bane 3, which, alongside the dwarf crafted and adding to combat res, you're now just, yeah, heavy armor and a shield. If you roll that 6, bunk, you just kill him. Kill him on Overwatch. Kill him at 24 or 30 inches away, or whatever you want.
Yeah, and you can do that with just a runesmith,
Just a
65
runesmith.
points.
Yeah.
I The only reason really to go above the runesmith is for the additional like dispelling option, and really, I think actually getting multiple runesmiths into your list, very cheap ones. I don't think you need that many runes on these.
No.
I think it's just taking runesmiths, adding, say like your front rank of any unit. I think now should be like 7, 8 wide. And how wide have you gone and found?
Seven for the Iron Breakers and 8 for the Longbeards.
And that was manageable,
Just
right?
Yeah, just because the Lord is on his shield bearer, so he takes up 2
Yeah, but then but
on the Longbeard unit.
let's just say with no lord in there, you're going to get 9 attacks from that front rank, or
Yeah,
eight attacks from that front rank plus the runesmith because he's got to go in the front, and maximizing that amount of attacks in the front
yeah.
because of these longer units, getting armor bane to go off more will make this really useful.
It would be if I could take 2 hand weapons on like a warrior unit, then I would be like, oh, 7 wide with a runesmith with 2 hand weapons. It's now right. That's 15 plus attacks with a potential AP2. I could be swayed that way because the strength 3 is irrelevant if you're just fishing for those 6s.
Yes.
So yeah,
So let's go on to Slayers of Legend,
okay.
Demon and Dragon Slayers.
Yeah.
They've got sort of Dwarf Lord and Thane stat lines for slightly more points, 130 to 170, and I think it was 125 for the Lord. However, they have no armor, right?
No, they're just wearing t-shirts,
Yeah,
which shooting is less AP now because of the strength stuff. But when you haven't got a save anyway, AP is relevant. Um, yeah, I mean, I think they're cool. I think they're fun. Will I be taking them? Probably not. Or
no,
maybe one, just
but
to like run around in the zone.
I think I think they're cool, and I think the Slayer of Demons and Dragons rules are quite good, doing them
Yeah,
multiple wounds to targets, and you don't need to upgrade them to get that.
yeah,
Having Killing Blow is good. Vanguard, good for dwarfs. It can definitely be a good blocking unit, but
yeah,
it's just because even Vanguarding is going to increase the chances of just getting peppered with arrows, even with a toughness 5.
yeah.
And then although a unit has targeted them rather than something else, it's a bit of a point sink Though then again, you might be able to find space, like maybe take 14 gyros and a Slayer, so that you can then
Yeah,
say, I'm a fluffy player, I've got
yeah.
a Slayer in my list.
Everyone's a skirmisher. What?
Yeah,
Which is the Slayer mounted?
the Slayer
Oh,
Mountain.
what? Yeah, which is
Uh,
the land? Like Ungrim?
Karadin?
Is it Cadrin?
I'm going to
Cadrin?
have to Google
Whichever.
this now.
Yeah,
So on
sweet.
to Dwarf Engineers for 50 points. The stat line is not why you come in here. What you come in here for is the three special rules that he's got. Artillery Master, allowing you to re-roll the misfire dice as well as to hit rolls of one.
Or either or.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
either or.
And it's not a declare, like you don't declare in the command phase or anything to say you're going to reroll ones and then carry on. It's the way it's written, and the way we played it was, oh, I could really do with re-rolling those 8 ones I rolled, and just use it for that.
Yeah, so you declare it at time of use rather than
Yeah,
having to declare it beforehand. It's
yeah,
leadership 9, so he's got a really long command range being a dwarf, which is really helpful for this. That's a definitely worth 50 points. If you've got any, I'd say if you've got one unit of shooting plus a war machine, it's definitely worth an engineer
yeah,
to fire the war machine first. If it doesn't misfire, you're gonna re-roll all the ones. So even
yeah,
if you've got those 2 units, it's worth it, I'd say. Entrenchment. During deployment, you may entrench a non-character model whose troop type is war machine. It's considered behind partial cover and to be defending a low linear obstacle.
yeah. Great.
It is what it is.
So
It's not that great of a rule, is it? But like,
yeah, behind cover, so you're -1 to hit, and low linear obstacle is disorder their charge when they charge you.
I believe
What's
so.
that?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
that's all right. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but
The way that it's written,
go
a
on.
single non-character model whose troop type is War Machine. Does that mean if we see the Goblin Hewer, do you reckon that'll be a character? That'd be cool.
As in, like, you can't entrench the
You
Goblin
couldn't
Hewer.
entrench the Goblin Hewer because it's a character War Machine.
No. I think it would be character as in character you can join a unit rather than unique character or something like that. Well, however they term it
Oh, okay.
when a unique comes up. And then stand back, chief. Stand back, chief.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think the
Can't be
second one was right.
targeted whilst within 3
Of a
of
war
a War
machine.
Machine.
Yeah, rather than a ranked up unit. That is just, it is what it is, I suppose.
Yeah, because it's normally unit strength 5 that you can't be targeted. But this is just any time that there's a War Machine. So yeah, he's cool. 50 points. Stick a handgun on it because
Because it's dwarf
why
crafted
not?
and he can stand and shoot.
Well, and he's BS5, so even at long range, he's hitting on threes.
Ah, yeah, because you don't actually have to forgo
He's
your
not in a
own
unit.
shooting
Yeah, yeah,
to be able to do the
exactly.
artillery master rule. So yeah, it's worth just
Yeah,
having a handgun into on it.
why not?
Yeah. So let's get into the runic items. Do you know the rules of the runes off the top of your head, Ian?
All right. Don't put 3 of the same one unless they're allowed. Oh no, don't. Sorry, don't put 2 of the same one unless they're allowed multiples, which is which is the jealousy rule,
Yeah.
maybe. And then can't have the same magic item. Can't have
Ah,
2 master runes. That's about it.
yeah.
I
So the
don't really
rune
know.
of jealousy is only one master rune per army,
Oh,
or
okay.
one of each. Rune of pride, no two runic items can be identical. The rule of form, you cannot have, like, you've got to have it on the right item, basically.
Yeah. You
Obvious.
can't have a dragon slaying handgun. Currently,
Yes.
that might change.
Currently.
It would be very entertaining.
Yes. The rule of three, you can only have three runes on there. And rule
Yeah,
of duplication, only runes marked with an asterisk can be duplicated on the same item.
yeah,
Yeah. And it's really versatile. There is some runic combinations that I think will be incredibly rage inducing. There will be runes as we go through that are on their own rage-inducing. Uh,
Like
and
what?
we'll get there, Ian. We'll get there.
Okay, okay.
So
I don't see. I'm not really a runer.
you're not a
I like
runer.
I like a 2-up save, so I can still swing my great axe.
And
And
what
I
more
like
does a
the
dwarf need?
yeah, like you've got a 2-up. You carried into battle on a shield, and you can still swing your axe with 2 hands. Like that's it.
I think you go against that when you get to your war machines, at least, because you're re-rolling your misfire dice and giving flaming attacks
Yeah,
to one of
but
them.
only because you can't take the same reroll. Yeah, yeah.
Right. So
But
into
yeah.
the weapon runes.
Yes.
You've got the Master Rune of Smiting, multiple wounds, d6. Now that's 75 points. That's pretty good. That's pretty
Yeah.
mental, really.
Instead of going through all of them, are you going to go through all of them,
All right, let's give some combinations that you like.
or
I
just pick one that stands out to you?
the Rune of Flight,
Always.
move and
Everyone
shoot,
wants
quick shot,
Mjolnir or whatever. Yeah,
throw the axe,
yeah. And you could combine that though with one of another rune. I'm trying
like.
to go. You pick one like
why,
rune
why
of
am I
might.
picking? You're the dwarf expert.
No, but you could put 2 runes of might on it. So you're throwing like your dwarf lord's throwing at strength 6 with his little flying hammer.
Yeah, so I think these like the lower down runes are the ones that really stand out to me as the main
Yeah.
thing. I wouldn't ever really take the Rune of Fire. I've never found fire-based weapons to be great, or just having flaming on my attacks to be great. It's only ever seems to be a
No.
downside for me. Yeah, might, as you say, +1 strength. Though with being was it strength 6 on your dwarf lord, I'd only ever really get one more if you've got a great weapon, because strength 7 seems to be the magic point where you wound pretty much everything on a 2. I mean, there's only really dragons
Yeah,
that I
dragons and
think that you wound on a
stuff.
3 then. And at that point, your dragon slayer is surely going after
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that I potentially would be doing, Rune of Might once,
Yep.
Rune of Cleaving twice,
Oh,
and then
okay.
that will be giving me, with Gromril weapons added, -3, along with +1 strength, making my dwarf lord strength 5. So I'm wounding
I
normal mooks from most armies on 2s, and then
I
like
think
the
you lose
harder
it.
armies 3s.
I think you lose the Gromwell weapons because I think it's a mundane. Yeah, a single ordinary hand weapon.
Ah, gutted, gutted. See,
Oh,
this is so. Go on. What is your preferred loadout
great
for a
weapon
weapon?
with. If I was going to do weapon runes, it'd be a great weapon with runes of fury, like 3 runes of fury. Just 7 attacks with a strength 6 AP2.
Yes, but pretty mental, pretty mental. And because you can
Why
choose
not?
these yourself,
Yeah.
yeah, it's even the rune of parrying, 35 points, -1 to hit you. So in a challenge, someone is really mainly going to be hitting you on 4s if they're an absolute insane character,
Yeah.
5s if it's a chaos lord even.
Yeah, geez.
Yeah.
Actually, that's
Mm.
the other side of defense, right? If they can't hit you,
Yeah, you never need an armor rune.
you don't need your armor.
Look, he's perked
Where's
up
Rune of
now.
Parry?
It's the top
35
top
points.
left of the second page.
It's pretty good.
So next onto armor runes, and I've got a feeling these are your favourites, right?
Yeah.
So you got the Master Rune of Adamant for 100 points, making your toughness 10. Is
Yeah.
is that something you ever go for?
I wouldn't unless I put it on like a. If I took the Anvil of Doom, took the Master Rune
Yes.
of Adamant and put it on the tip of your. If you're doing the deployment we did where we're only 12 inches apart, put it on your deployment line and
Yeah.
your Marauder horse and charging in going, we're strength 4. It's like, cool. You need what to hurt me?
He's strength 4
7?
yet? Can't hurt. Well,
Yes.
no, there's strength. Yeah, strength 4 you can't hurt. You need strength
Yeah.
5 minimum to be able to hurt you on a 6.
Yeah. It'd be funny, but it wouldn't be great. Not for 100 points anyway.
So go
Um,
on. What is your favourite ones? Rune of Iron's pretty
plus,
tasty. +1 wound.
plus one win for 35 points is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Uh, Twice as expensive as shield bearers.
but
Oh
you
no,
could stack it with shield bearers to get a
sorry.
total of 7 wounds on your dwarf lord.
100, yeah, 150, whatever. To try
Yeah,
and get
well,
the
I
same.
definitely go shield bearers first, right? But I don't like Rune of Iron to get +1 wound on top of the shield bearers. Good.
Yeah, then you're just asking for a killing blow. Right, right to the jugular. Just-
That's when your unit champion takes it.
yeah, I guess. But for me, yeah, Master Rune of Gromwell, 45 points for a 2-up save that can't be modified
Yeah,
past 2-up.
and
It can
then
get
you've
worse.
got yeah, but then you've got the Gromril armor, so it's a 2-up re-rolling on,
Yeah.
which is absolutely insane. It
Yeah.
means that you, or I would say that if you get into like Lord on Lord challenge, you will just eventually kill the enemy Lord because
Yeah.
there's no way they're getting through 6 wounds on shield bearers with a 2-up re-rolling save.
Yeah, even your Chaos Lord, I just died to the.
Well, there's no way I'd be
You got
able
halfway
to.
through me, and then I died to the sweep, rather than if it was just infinite battle, then yeah, eventually I'd kill you, probably.
Yes, yeah. Um, so next, let's go on to talismans, and this is where your war saves will be coming from.
I will just mention that there's the Rune of Shielding,
Ah,
15 points for a 6-up ward, which can be bought up to 3 times. So 45 points for a 4-up ward save is also.
well, I think that is that what you did in our game.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I did in our game. Um, if I wanted, yeah, if you wanted a 2-up with a 4-up ward, you could then do that. But
well,
yeah,
I think a, a 4-up ward to me is probably
is
the
a
better
2-up
way to
save.
go because you've
Yeah,
already
it's
got
kind
a
of a 2
3-up
save anyway.
save.
Yeah,
So do you know like there's almost no point, and having a 4-up ward is actually is really good because taking it on top of your armor save and it not being able to be modified.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's what dwarves should be, right? Just really survivable.
just grinding. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, as you said, talismans. I haven't really looked through these except for the the last one, which is 5 points for a rune of passage, and it gives someone and the unit move through cover.
Yes, and
Oh,
you've
hold on.
taken this on a few different
Oh
things
yeah,
that I
yeah,
know of, and then I imagine you put in Rune of the Furnace just as the next cheapest one to get at you
yeah,
twice.
yeah, pretty much. Rune of Furnace is actually so. If I were to take if the Master Rune of Gromwheel for the 2-up save, I'd
Yes.
then also stick a Rune of Furnace on there because if people are higher AP, it might have a flaming attack, and then I just get a 3-up ward. So, and if I ever play your Zeech army where everyone has flaming attacks, then it'd be
Well,
quite
it's
nice
no
to
longer
just.
Zinch. It's now an
Oh,
undivided army.
oh, okay, cool.
Yes, because I've decided I've not because it's 200 years in the past, not yet found the true way of Zinch. So that might come
Oh,
out later in the edition, but it's not at the moment a Zinch army.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then onto
There are other ones
the
there which are.
standard runes.
Yeah.
So of these, I'm just gonna say it:
Okay.
the rune of hesitation, or the master rune of hesitation.
Are you allowed to swear on your videos?
Yeah, of course.
Absolute fucking horseshit.
Yes. Now this is you're always going to want to take a BSB, I would say, in this edition, and I would have this on the BSB so it can just be mobile into any unit that you want to deploy in whatever place, rather than on a singular unit, because it's going to be so it's going to be so useful everywhere, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's so basically
Utterly demoralizing.
Yes, because magic items are secret. Someone declares a charge on you, goes in, then you're like, you don't count as charging, mate.
Yeah.
And I think people are going to end up guessing what you've got. Like, certainly when I play dwarf players, I'm going to be feeding chaff to a couple of key units to find out where this rune is, because
I play
everyone's going to
hide
be
and seek.
taking it. And if you were a dwarf player, take that rune.
Yeah.
Um,
So what does it do, Max? Tell us what it does.
yeah, so you don't count as charging. You get no benefits like impact hits, lances, initiative bonuses, anything when you charge. Furious charge if you've got furious charge. Um,
Yeah, does not count as having charge for the purposes of choosing which weapons to use and any special rules it may have.
yes,
So,
yeah,
yeah, so that's just a feels bad for 45 points.
yeah. Now on your secondary units, the rune of confusion, and that can be done multiple times across the army. I think is absolutely excellent. Making a disordered charge when, say, a lot of armies are now going to be relying on horde and to get +1 combat, or to get +1 rank for the combat rares, but also
Yep.
horde. It takes a gore to leadership 10 because warband allows you to add your leadership
Yeah.
to their add your
Add your rank
ranks
bonus
to
to
your
your leadership.
leadership,
Yeah.
and then this will just negate the ranks, so they will massively decrease in leadership and be more likely to just fail their unmodified save.
There's almost a
Oh,
+2
leadership test.
static combat res. Like, assuming
Yeah,
anyone charges you with ranks, you're like, cool, +2 to me.
yeah,
Which, because dwarves are going to be ranked, right? They're gonna if your banner is in a unit, it's going to have ranks. So yeah, it's just +2 combat res virtually.
all the time. And the
Yeah, it's
rune
very
of
good.
battle is excellent for standards. +1 additional combat res. That
Yeah,
can, like, you can have that and a rune of confusion for what 60 points, and
yeah.
it's just a great combo. Stroller's rune 25 points, gained Vanguard, excellent.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it is a 3-inch vanguard because you are a dwarf, and you're not putting that into a cavalry unit or anything. So,
No. Now,
but yeah,
the Master Rune of Grugni, a unit carrying the standard, has a 5-up ward against any wound suffered. When within 6 of the standard, friendly units have a 6-up ward. I think
yep,
there's definitely something to be said for it in that it's increasing your own survivability. But just with how good that Rune of Hesitation is, like negating Chariots, the Rune of Hesitation. Like,
yeah. And it's even like because you're a dwarf and you have your fullback in good order, and even if they pursue into you, it's like cool, didn't charge again. So your falling back in good order is now a give ground.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's a feels
yeah.
bad, but
It's,
you know,
it is.
at least it's a master rune though, so there's only one.
Yes, yeah, which is why you can
There's a
then sort
van.
of hunt it down with dogs and then just avoid that unit at all costs until you hit it in the side. But yeah, it's just going to be working out strategies to do. I don't think at all it will be unbeatable or even.
No,
It's just when you catch someone that doesn't know its existence,
yeah,
when you know it's a possibility in dwarf armies, you can get strategies to deal with it. But this will be one that people will have to work out how to deal with that being in the army.
yeah. With scoring being, sorry, units killed being the way that you win.
Yes.
Uh, it's like here's my unit of 26 hammerers. Sorry, 25 hammerers with a runesmith and a dwarf lord on shield bearers for that sweet 30 block.
Yeah, that's always been a thing in fantasy though, is like having a sort of not even a Death Star unit as such, but a block of points in a unit
Yeah,
that
like
then
a
some
thousand
you have
points.
to learn to deal with to get a win basically.
Yeah. But
And
say la vie, it exists. It's
yeah,
there.
yeah, so
You, yeah, Rune of Courage as well. If you so because
ooh,
we'll get into it in a bit,
yes.
but because your units can also take magic standards, you on their standard bearer, not even with the BSB. So you
Yes.
can just stick a rune of courage. You ignore fear and terror, or you automatically pass fear and terror, which is 15 points, which is not bad. Like,
No,
if
well,
it's a unit that's got no character support,
with the Rune of Courage, having Rune of Confusion and Rune of Courage only comes to 50 points, which will then be within people's magic banner allowance. And I think is a really good combo as well.
yeah,
Is
yeah,
so these banners are really, to me, and it's always I'm much more in favour of force multiplying than
yeah.
singular character stuff. So this is where I will be looking as a dwarf player, and I have been like toilet hammering lists because is
They
they have got an aesthetic that I like.
50
It's
points.
only that Ian is so heavily into dwarfs and Chris that I don't have a dwarf army at the moment.
I only got this dwarf army painted because I wanted it and I'd never had one, and I'm now in a place where I can have the free time to do it.
Mm.
But as a kid, it was all of it was unpainted, and this base
You
represents a cannon this
scrub.
week. And, um, but yeah, also I was going to say 50 points on your magic standard for a Longbeard unit. Say you've taken 25 Longbeards, that's actually 24 wounds on your standard bearer until that unit flees and gets caught,
Yeah,
because it's the second last model to die in the unit. So if you're going to spend 50 points on your BSB banner, a 50 point on your Longbeard unit, also very good.
cool. So engineering runes. Shall we wait until the War Machine section and then do these? Or do you want to just get
I mean,
basically you're
Rune of
gonna use?
Forging,
Yeah, I was gonna say we can do this very quickly. Rune of
Rune of
Forging.
Reloading.
Rune of Reloading is what you take when you've already got Rune of Forging on something else. Rune of
Yeah,
Skewering, I think there's a big shout out for. Bolt throwers only, +1 strength, so you're going through an additional rank, and
yeah,
no armor saves permitted, which is really really good. Like
yeah.
the everyone sort of looks at cannons for a dwarf list, and we'll get there. But I really really like bolt throwers,
Yeah, as we were talking about,
and also I'd I'd cut my beard before I used any of that newfangled tech.
all right.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I'll just let you have that. Um, the I think that about bolt throwers now,
Go.
especially with that rune, you your cannon's only AP2, maybe
Yes.
AP3 or 4. I can't remember if some are Bane 2 or not. But
Yeah, I'm a Bane too.
your skewering is AP5
Infinite.
all the time,
Yeah.
because the best save you can have is a 2 up, so it's just AP5. Yeah, you roll to hit, which is worse than the artillery dice, but
Ah,
you're
you
probably going to be in
see,
half range. I don't know.
I think let's get there. Let's get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll go through the infantry, and then when we get to war machines,
Yeah,
we can have this discussion comparing a cannon and bolt thrower. So, dwarf warriors, you got your weapon skill 4, toughness 4, only strength 3 though, leadership 9 as a dwarf standard, and
yeah,
8 points is the key things. I think you're going to be 9 points because you're going to want shields on these rather than anything else, I would say, to make use of your shield wall rule. They're
yeah.
close order, so that means you only need 4 wide in a unit, but actually, I'd go like 8 wide on these.
I think
And
close order. I thought it was heavy infantry that gives you the 4 wide. Either way, irrelevant. Yeah, it's probably both. Um,
I'll look at they've
yeah,
either way. Dwarf warriors have that close order. You're
yeah,
getting a natural +1 to your combat res. Um, Now
yeah,
I really like this unit because the drilled special rule is present here. Mental
yeah,
as a rule. Veteran 1 point a model. I'm not sure whether I'd take it just because my leadership's already so high and it's making
yeah,
your 8 point model then a 10 point model because you're always going to take drilled, right? They can take.
yeah. Maybe
I
drill. I don't know if you would take drilled all the time. I think you a unit that you want to take as hitters, you would take drilled. But
I think it's just so ubiquitous in its use. Even if you don't get use out of it every game, being able
yeah,
to, if I go second, reform into a marching column and zoom 9 inches or wheel much more easily, I think is just so good in like in a clutch situation that I think I will want drilled on every unit that I ever take if it can take it.
even
And
yeah,
especially
I
because
guess
it's
even if
only
you
not to one per 1,000 points that can actually do this. Yeah.
if you're doing your four, let's say 4 wide by 5 deep,
Mm.
so like the opposite you used to do. So you've got maximum rank bonus. You've got your 2 ranks, but you've also got a spare 2 ranks.
Yeah.
But you could then, yeah, I guess, drilled and just go, I'm going to go 10 wide. I'm facing a dragon or something. I'm just going to go 10 wide and just charge the
And
dragon.
chop it up. Yeah.
Yeah, and just great weapon it with 11 attacks.
Well,
But
exactly.
yeah,
There's so many different situations where drilled. Oh, I'm facing goblin warriors. They're really wide, so I'm going to go two wider than their unit, so that or like however wide. Do you know like you
yeah,
can? Or I've taken casualties. I need to go shallower or like less wide, so I can go deeper and still maintain my rank bonus.
yeah,
It just allows those micro adjustments all the time. So say I've got 8 wide and I've got 24 warriors, so I can deploy in and get my maximum rank bonus, which is 2, whilst also
yeah.
being getting the maximum attacks. If you then take 5 casualties, well, next turn I'll just add some people to the back with drilled and still maintain that rank bonus rather than losing it.
Yeah. But the main difference between these and our next choice is the fact that they have shield wall. I think for that fullback, when you would fall back in good order, oh, which way is it?
So it's not the next choice because the next choice is Longbeards.
Oh, okay. But yeah, what's shield wall?
Shield wall is you give ground rather than falling back in good order, and you'll fall back in good order a lot because you're a dwarf with leadership 9. So when you're rolling against your modified leadership, you might fail that, but you'll pretty much always pass your
Yeah,
unmodified leadership of 9.
yeah.
And just getting a
So
big
it's only a
unit
one. It's a
of
one use
warrior.
rule,
It
but
is, it
it
is,
is
but
great.
it will get you that key turn when someone charges you. You give ground. They
Yeah,
will probably follow up so that you don't get the charge in your turn, but they're not charging now, and that's key.
yeah.
Then you can
Yeah.
start chopping them down.
As demonstrated in our game.
Yeah,
It
well,
was on Longbeards, but it's the same thing, right?
yes, yeah. So Longbeards, you got 12 points a model. You get an extra weapon skill, an extra strength, and you can have one of these units per 1,000 points if you've got a dwarf king in your army.
I think it's just one. No, sorry, it's one unit as core if you have a king,
Right.
but then otherwise it's special.
Yeah, and I think I agree with what Ian's going to say in that you will always want
It's as
a
if
long
we've talked
beard
about
unit.
them.
Yeah, well, we've also
Yeah.
played a few games, so
Yeah.
we, do you know, like as opinions form, and we endlessly talk about it and take 3 times the length of a game should be to talk about all these things. I agree with you. I think you want to take long beards, at least
Yeah.
that one unit, because they are better than warriors,
Yeah.
especially as a core choice. Um,
So if you add the drilled, why am I not seeing drilled? Yeah, sorry.
add to
So
drilled,
if you
yeah,
add your drill,
13
you're
points.
13 points compared to a warrior's 10, but you are stronger, more weapon skillier. You have Gromwheel weapons and venerable and veteran.
Yes.
So
And you can take
those
a
3
50
points.
point runic standard on
You can
any
on the
of the
warriors as well.
units. Yeah, but it's on any of the units, not to one per 1,000.
Oh, okay.
Now,
Yeah.
here, I think key difference is venerable. Reroll all failed panic checks to units within 6 of the Longbeards. They themselves are
Yeah.
re-rolling panic checks because of veteran, which allows them to reroll any leadership other than break tests.
Yeah.
And I think this is where those other runes that allow you to ignore stuff, or like the standard rune that allows you to ignore fear,
Yeah.
is, I think, having that unit of Longbeards in your army, you're going to want to do anyway, so then it makes the other ones a bit redundant.
Yeah, it's like a little BSB, right? Which is cool.
Yeah.
With a
To go on
huge
top of
footprint.
your other BSB.
Well, yeah, you can have your BSB somewhere else, and then you can have your Longbeards just sort of
Milling
holding
around.
a flank with some Quarrelers or something.
Yeah, with their leadership 9
Yeah.
and shield wall. How do you tend to actually run your Longbeards, Ian? Like, do you go great weapon shields, both?
Yeah, both.
Both.
Just because you need that shield for shield wall, and great weapons are good when you're strength 6.
Yeah, because if you get that charge, if you shield wall to break their charge,
Yeah,
and then the combat goes on.
bounce off each other. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and
You
then
can
that
then just
next turn charging. Then you'll be initiative
5.
up to 4. No, because you'll be initiative 1 with your great weapon. So up to 4 with a 3
yeah,
charge.
yeah.
Yeah, so
True.
that's going before a human, which is pretty good.
Which is good. Which is real good.
Yeah.
Now, let's get on to the contentious point of the entire video, I think. Quarrelers and Thunderers. And it's not even between whether you should take Quarrelers or Thunderers. So you've got 9 points for a Quarreler, 10 points for a Thunderer.
Yeah.
Crossbows range 30, strength 4. Handguns range 24, strength 4.
With AP1.
With AP1.
Yeah.
They've both got Armor Bane.
They're both good. They've both got
Yeah.
heavy armor as well. And they don't have Gromwell weapons.
No.
But they do have Dwarf crafting. So please see earlier. These guys are great.
I think they're really good. I think it was a massive bonus when we realised that, or when you realised that you can add stand and shoot to your combat res.
Yeah.
I think there definitely needs to be a few Quarrelers and Thunderers in any list to thin out the ranks a bit.
Yeah, and they're core.
Yeah, and they're hard in combat. They're better than most other armies' combat troop, or like core level combat troops.
Yeah, yeah. Because is a human weapon skill 3?
I think swordsmen are 4, but
okay, cool.
Really it's the toughness 4 in a heavy infantry close order unit that's getting combat res from standard shooting. They can take great weapons and shields, so they're like, yeah, they're really solid as a unit. However, Ian, you think they make warriors redundant? Justify.
Yeah, but the warriors being weapon skill 4 is a lovely boon comparatively to their 3. But in a straight up fight, if they were fighting, the warriors will come out on top. But you're in a normal battle, your Quarrelers are probably hitting on 4s. Like there's not much weapon skill 7. So they're probably hitting on 4s. They're getting hit back maybe easier, but they've also shot you before you got there.
Yeah, now, I really like the addition of drilled to warriors. It means that they know cheaper than Quarrelers, but I think having, and I know I said go like 8 wide and stuff, but if we're saying like a cheap unit even, as like secondary to Longbeards, utilising, let's say it's heavy infantry that gives you 4 wide as a thing. Utilising that 4 wide, steaming up the board and just heading off people's flanking units with a movement 9, I think is really good. And I think in anything that increases the dwarf army's mobility and ability to project presence onto the board is also really good.
The crossbows and handguns are now cumbersome. Is it cumbersome or ponderous? So they're no longer move or shoot. They're now move and shoot, but they are -2.
Yes.
So you can still be
not the special rule move and shoot though.
No, not
because that's a different thing.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, like I get
yeah,
what
if
you're
you the
saying.
war
Like
machine.
again, I think it's another one of these things that's there's no right answer.
No, no.
Like and every time even we talk about it, I swing a different way, or I still I still like Dwarf Warriors. I don't think they're as useless as other editions of the game. But
Yeah.
now we're talking about it now, I'm going, oh yeah, Quarrelers are like I'm going more to this end. And then
Yeah.
next time
If
we
you have
talk about it,
two,
I'll come back over to this end.
if you have two hills in your deployment zone,
Yeah,
then Quarrelers or Thunderers are always the best choice. But if you only have one hill, then that hill's for your cannon, right? So you
yeah.
war then it's like dealer's choice really between Quarrelers and I like
And
the idea of plucky dwarf just marching forward with a hip fire and a crossbow. I think that's sick.
and only one of us is a dwarf player, so at least
Yeah.
for sake of argument, I'll have to let you. I'll have to defer.
Yeah.
So now let's get on to Rangers. These are 11 points each, weapon and ballistic skill 4. So we're back up to like the best of both, really. Uh,
Better than both.
yes, and only for 11 points you get
Yeah.
in hand weapons, crossbows, and heavy armor. You're getting
Yep.
dwarf crafted on your weapons, although I suppose yeah, you're getting dwarf crafted on the
You get moved through cover.
thunderers and quarrelers anyway. Yeah, move through cover, scouts, skirmishers,
What
mental.
can't they do? Oh, they're open order and they're skirmishers.
Do you know what they
Yeah.
can do? Replace their crossbows with throwing axes, which
Oh,
move and
cool.
shoot, so they can march and throw a strength 4 throwing axe, which I
Cool.
like. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just like it as a thing. Now,
Yeah. So you take them with shields, at least.
yeah,
You scout them into the middle of the board in a skirmish formation. Someone charges you, you throw, well, let's say you take a unit of 10. So probably
yes,
seven of them, see? So seven throwing axes at strength 4. Yeah, man.
it's good. Now, the scariest way I've seen you use them is having what was it, 2 20 strong units?
No, I had 120 and 2 units of 5. So a single unit can be taken as core. So that was the 20 man.
Yeah,
And then I took two 5 points in my two 5 man units in my specials.
and that's to get
And
the 25% of core more easily
yeah, yeah,
and minimize the damage to your special choices, I assume.
yeah. So I've then got just a horrible, a horrible unit if you want to charge it.
Yeah,
I think I did all of mine with crossbows, but now you've pointed out throwing axes for free, and they are +1 strength. It'd be quite nice to, yeah.
yeah. Well, the crossbows were great because it was like, right, you've got this massive unit that can stand and shoot. They're in a place where I've not planned on dealing with a massive unit.
Yeah.
They were horrible, but
Really,
having
really, it was far too efficient. It was very,
yeah, was having moved
um,
through cover to just occupy a wood somewhere along with scout, and then just jumping out of it and throwing axes at someone.
yeah.
Tis the dwarfish way,
And they
kind
can
of.
take a runic standard for 25 points.
Yeah, so you could have Stroller's Rune and get even closer up someone's bum.
Yeah. Yeah, and then first turn you're not even moving, so you're now just hitting on threes with your strength 4 axe. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Cool.
right.
Unfortunately, you can't scout your
Characters with them.
runesmith. Yeah, you can't scout your runesmith because those AP2 axes would be pretty cool. Yeah, but yeah, 11 points, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
They are objectively better than warriors or quarrelers, and they cost the same points.
Yes. Now the only thing that they're lacking there is shield wall, but I do agree. Like they are better
They
because
are.
being able to just get further up the board does the job of heading off flankers more efficiently, and you've got the
Yeah,
long beards from your king. Because I would say you
yeah,
pretty much always want to take a king. Yeah,
Cool.
it,
Yeah, Ranger's good.
no,
Ranger's good.
no further discussion needed.
No.
Now into
Hammerers. We can
hammerers.
also have a 2 minute discussion about these because they tell us about them, Max.
Right, so they're weapon skill 5, so they're more weapon skill than most other things in the old world. They're equal weapon skill with, say, Chaos Knights. And I'll use them as an example of just like that, one of the hardest units around,
Yeah.
which is just excellent off the bat. Now, they've got great hammers and heavy armor. And what great hammers are is a great weapon that doesn't strike last. So you go into initiative 3 with your great hammer, or if you charge over 3 inches, or if you're in the flank, if you charge over 4 inches, you're initiative 6 or 7, which is absolutely insane. Insane. They're also stubborn,
Yes. Yeah.
which means you can just automatically choose to fall back in good order. They've not got they have got shield wall, but you're not going to be
Yeah.
using your shields. You're going to be bonking people with your hammers. But if you really do need to use shields, you can just turn that into a give ground. Stoic defenders means when you are charged, you are going at initiative 4 and with +1 attacks, so you become 2 attacks when you are charged.
Yeah.
Craziness. Craziness.
Yeah. And they can purchase a magic standard up to 75 points. So you don't even need to put your BSB in there for what was the banner called? Rune of Hesitation?
The Rune of Hesitation. The Master
Yeah. So
Rune of
they
Hesitation.
Master Rune. So they can just rock around
Well, they
with
can
that.
have the Master Rune of Hesitation along with like a Rune of Battle to give you +1 combat res, though I don't think you'll
Yeah.
need it. And one of the things is here, you say, oh, I still wouldn't put Rune of Hesitation here because I think you don't want to, although it's going to be on your battle standard bearer, quite obvious. I think you want it dotting about, choosing which flank, because you drop characters last, right? So
Yeah.
I think you want to see more of your enemy's deployment before you actually put down that battle standard bearer of where you're going to get there. Because I'm going to also be waiting with my hard unit to know where these are going, and
Yeah.
then you drop something else. And I don't think they need it. I don't know whether they need it really.
I think it's the best in that unit because of the Stoic Defender getting the +1 attack, +1 initiative when they're charged. You just want to leave that unit out the front and say your Chaos Knights, because we were using them before, they charge me
Yeah.
in the front, whack. Let's say I'm 6 wide,
Yeah,
so or maybe 7 wide with a character. You charge into me, I go, by the way, you didn't charge, and you're disordered, which
yes,
probably doesn't matter your knights. But by the way, you didn't charge, so I now strike at the same time as you, and thanks for giving me the extra attack.
no, I think it definitely makes the hardest stack. It makes
Yeah,
the hardest Death Star. That's undoubtable. So if your strategy is going to revolve around a super hard Death Star, that is the way to go. There's going to be no argument from me there. I would. I always seem to take the at least thought process of I want multiple like sort of 80% hard units rather than 100% hard and then 60% hards.
but you could. It would then mean that your BSB could take that Master Rune of Grugny,
For the 5-up
that
ward.
guy, for the ward save. Well, he could stand next to the unit.
But then they
So
only
even if
get
you
a
charge
6-up versus shooting. So
oh,
I
then
think
he could shoot.
if you're taking Raster and Grugny to make a super hard unit here, I think you take the Grugny BSB, put him in the unit so everyone gets a 5-up, and obviously you just ignore your armor 5-up armor because it's going to become
Yeah,
a 6-up with like chopper or assault sword weapon or
yeah,
anything like that, and a 6-up isn't worth having to me. But the 5-up ward, yeah, I
yeah.
like, and
But
yeah,
either way,
as you say,
it's a great unit.
yeah.
You can rune it to
But
however much you want
yeah,
because
rune to taste.
you can also your royal champion can upgrade 25 points of magic. Sorry, weapon or talisman 25 points of each, sorry. So he can even have
So we can have a great hammer with the rune of
a Fury.
+1 attack. Yeah.
Plus one attack. Yeah, so if you charge that champion, he's 4 attacks. Which is,
Yeah.
all right. I don't hate that guy. He's pretty
Now,
cool.
there is one thing that I've not yet said about this unit. I think I
Yeah.
want to take drilled on them. It's becoming a bit of a theme across these dwarf
Is
units.
there drilled? There is drilled.
There is
Yeah.
+1 point a model. I definitely think it's worth it.
Well, yes.
No argument from Ian this time on.
No. Drilled on these. Drilled on any unit you really, really want to fight with.
Yeah,
I can see that, but on these especially, because you drill forward. I'm going to beat that dead horse and say Rune of Hesitation again. You're now 1 inch away. And
yeah.
it doesn't matter if they do charge you. Because if they charge you, you're better. If they let you charge, you're better. Yeah, cool.
Yes. And for me, this would be the unit to avoid in the dwarf list.
What, with or against?
As in, like, when I'm playing them. So if
Yeah.
anyone's playing, like, against this list and wants to know about them to get one up on the dwarfs, avoid that unit and gank it from 4 sides all at once, because that's going to be the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Iron Breakers. Now, these are weapon skill 5, strength toughness 4, and the main thing that they've got over Longbeards is the fact that they've got full plate with Gromril armor, and they've got the shield wall stubborn. Stubborn is great for them when combined with
Stubborn.
shield wall.
Absolutely amazing, yeah.
Yeah. Runes
They,
of Protection gives a 6-up ward against non-magical enemy attacks, so that's just another benefit because it's taken in addition to your armor save. He's, as I said, 6-up isn't great, but like
it's
a little
free.
cherry on top of this
Yeah.
unit. Yeah.
They have Gromril armor as well. I was trying to find the picture.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you mentioned it, but yeah. So 3-up save with a reroll in 1. Then you look back at that Anvil of Doom for a 2-up save and reroll in 1s. Oh wow, reroll everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
brilliant.
absolutely brilliant.
Now, I don't think you upgrade to a brace of Drake fire pistols or a Drake gun on this.
Pistols do
It's your
2 shots, quick shot.
well,
Strength
it's
5,
2 shots
81.
in combat at your own strength, but you're losing the Gromwell weapon.
Yeah. So I wouldn't use it for that.
I think you always want to be marching. Like a lot of the time, you want to be marching with this unit because you want to probably move over 3 inches.
Yeah. I
Like,
feel like you're forgetting Overwatch, adding to your combat rest.
I don't think you massively care. I don't think
Nah,
you
not really, but
massively care
was it 10 points?
because of your stubborn and shield wall. I think you just like, I don't care about losing. I'm just gonna win. I'm just gonna lose the first round of combat because I really don't care because I'm a dwarf with a leadership of 9. And then we'll see how everyone fares in the second round of combat when you're not charging me.
I think those, I haven't taken them myself, and I'm not arguing for them. But for 10 points, if you add, even if one game, like let's
Yeah.
say you play at an event and you play 4 games, if you do it once, 10 points for a point of combat res.
At that, it's one less. Oh, it's as you see, replacing the shield, I think, isn't great.
Well, no, but I just mean for the Overwatch, for the
Yeah,
standard
well, I think
shooter.
if you go in Overwatch, you're going to go Drake Gun because Drake Gun is Strength 5, Armor Bane 2, and you've got like longer range that if you are static, you can like reach out and touch people much further away.
Pistols are 2 shots though.
I don't know. I just, and also right, you've got regimental unit. So then going on to the
That is
Iron Drakes. This is the only regimental unit in the list, and this is the detachment. Is the Iron Drakes. Now they're ballistic skill 4 and 5 for the champion, and they're basically Iron Breakers that instead of having shields have Drake guns, which are the range 18, strength 5. I don't know why I'm trying to remember it. Armor piercing -1, armor bane 2. Now, being a detachment means that when your normal unit gets charged, if you were within 3, you can take one of 2 options, and that's perform a counter charge after the enemy's charge has been completed,
Yeah.
or stand and shoot. So that
What
will
would you do?
usually get you into the side if you're like sort of out and round a little bit, or if you're 3 inches from the back of your Ironbreaker unit, you can stand and shoot with them. And I think it's
Yeah.
just down to your opponent's army which one of those you're going to do. But I think this is where any stand and shoot sort of thinking should come in.
Yeah, even the counter charge with your AP1 axes, because you have. Do you have Gromwell? No,
No.
tell a lie. So you've just got regular hand weapons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
probably going to stand and shoot, right?
yeah, and you'll be able to, if you've not taken any casualties with a min unit, you'll break ranks, and your full plate does mean that you are survivable. It's not like Empire Free Company just adding combat res
Yeah,
to your enemy. Like
it'll be quicker.
it's not that, because you're even weapon skill 4 and strength 4, so you are pretty good in combat. You've got the same armor save as a Longbeard.
Yeah,
It's just, yeah, the Drake guns are good, and I do think this is where you stand and shoot will come from.
yeah.
In
Do
the
you
end.
think you would take a unit? I don't see myself ever.
Well, for what reason?
I think they are expensive.
Yeah.
So they're 15 points.
So that's the same as a normal
They,
Ironbreaker.
yeah, but a normal Ironbreaker is good in melee, whereas this unit is
Average in melee.
okay in melee
Yeah.
and okay at shooting, but you haven't got a huge amount of range. With only 18, you ponderous or anything? No.
No,
So
but one of the things that I'm sort of thinking about this unit as is something, and I know like I keep saying, oh, deal with flanking units,
yeah,
but say you've got 5 fast cav coming at you, most fast cav is going to be toughness 3, so your strength
yeah,
5 means you can like wheel around a bit, unload on them, and it's 2s to wound on flanking units.
yeah,
That's what I think this unit is going to be good for, as well as like it's 5s to wound a giant or 3s to wound a dragon ogre.
yeah.
But
Yeah, they can hold their own as well. Like even if you only took 5, even if you weren't doing it as a detachment and
yeah,
you just took 5 and just said babysit this one flank of where my
yeah, just
cannons are or
speed
something.
bump my war machines a
Yeah,
bit more.
yeah, yeah. I personally probably wouldn't. I also don't like the models, so they're just weird. But yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, well, they're too new tech for what I would want to do with the dwarf army. But
So an argument for and immediately against.
yes, well, I
How
think
about
they're all right. It's just I don't like the
how
unit.
how do you feel about a man with a giant pickaxe?
Positive.
Positive. So the next unit is miners.
I think ambushers is a fairly solid rule to have. Like
Yeah.
they can be good or they can be terrible.
So
Right?
so they're only 12 points for
Yeah.
a dwarf warrior stat line,
Yeah.
but you come with great weapons. So you now, yeah,
Yeah.
but you can give them all blasting charges for 2 points per model,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I think with ambushes is actually so range 6, strength 3, AP1, armor bane 1. I think that's cool because you can
So
come on ambushes is any table edge, right?
yes, but what I tend to see happening with miners whenever they've been used against me, or I've even just seen them used, they'll come on usually in the backfield. Usually a flank ends up too far away from the majority of the combat,
Yeah.
unless someone's really refused flanking you. But yeah, I think they just so hit and miss. It's a fun unit to use, but half the time they do nothing, or because people just move away from the table edges when they know you've got a unit like this.
Yeah.
They can't come in and charge, and I think it would be too powerful if they could come in and charge. but they move on. You either blow away a small unit or just accept this is the destruction of your cannon or two.
Yeah.
And it's already turn 3 before they actually do that, because ambushers, they come in turn 2 at best.
Yeah.
Turn 3 they get a charge off. So that can be alright. But yeah, it sometimes just works really well. And you get some flank charges and just destroy a battle line. It
Yeah.
sometimes just entirely fails because it's a movement 3 dwarf and people just move away from it.
And you can't roll your reserve roll.
Yeah,
Like
all
you just
that.
keep rolling. It doesn't auto come on any turn. It's just
Yeah. And I think there's a
uh,
bet, like Stroller's Rune is a better way of getting Vanguard.
well, these have Vanguard.
Yeah, but I think Stroller's
Oh
Rune
right,
is a
yeah,
better way of getting it.
yeah. Someone locally was like, "I really want to take miners. What would you suggest?" And I just said, "Dwarf warriors with great weapons, and just use use the miner models because he wanted it for the models."
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
So
I
you
don't think they.
also not into them.
No, not really. I think blasting charges could be cool, but then 14 points. Yeah, for a meme or for a like cool little unit. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, not really.
Well, that's it. I think having 8 of them, because they're
Yeah,
heavy infantry, having 8 of them is what, like 96 points, and having a maybe a champion and musician in there,
yeah,
give it a go. It's only 100 points,
yeah,
but
yeah,
just
yeah.
don't expect brilliant things from them. And if you've got a big unit, people are going to be aware of that and do things to mitigate what you actually do with them. If you've got a large unit of them, it could change a battle plan.
Yeah.
But
The game that we played, if you when the knights charged Longbeard, it did.
yes,
We bounced off. If a unit of ambush had just turned up, because I'm not sure when do you
on
pick your
turns.
table.
Well, it's when you actually do the ambushing unit, I believe,
Cool.
because Phil's
Right.
done his
Yeah. So I
gore
could have been
against
like,
me
I really need
before.
them over on that flank, and
Yeah,
they could have just turned up behind your knights,
well,
and
they
that would
could
have
turn
been
up on turn 2, and then it would have
yeah,
to be your turn 3 before they get a charge. And that's a very specific situation where I put a very high
yeah,
value unit on the flank, like on a bit of a
yeah.
limb. And if I'd have known you've got miners and a big block, I potentially would have changed that or moved further around.
So yeah, not
And
terrible, but not
yeah, but just don't always
unreliable.
expect big things.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's Slayers, 12 points a model. You've got weapon skill 4, but only strength 3. Now, this might be time to get into their special rules, Ian. So they've got hand weapons
yeah.
with basically. They're the unbreakable aspect of the army. They've always been that unarmored, so they get shot with
Yeah.
lots of things to just get rid of them easily. Death blow. Do you remember what death blow does?
A strength 3 AP1 hit on the unit that caused it. When they
Okay.
die, when a model dies. So it isn't particularly good because I think it used to be an attack. They used to just attack once.
Right.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's 3. They're going to die anyway, and they are only 12 points. So
Yeah. Well, it's. I think one of the things to say for them is the Slayer rule. You never need more than a 4+ to wound, which is very good. I
yep.
think it's people aren't going to be charging them with their dragons though, and letting you have an easy time of utilizing that rule.
No. But against like Chaos Warriors, you're basically +1 strength, which is pretty cool. With your
Yeah.
Troll Slayer, which is pretty cool. So you get a free strength buff. Um, yeah.
It's.
Additional, I
I
probably go
definitely don't
into
dislike them. I like even just small units of 5, just being unbreakable and being around the table are good. Like Phil Hutchinson has used his Slayers to great effect against me before, and yeah, they're a great unit. I love seeing them on the table, but they're not the greatest unit in the list, but they serve a
No.
purpose with Unbreakable.
Did they used to have tattoos?
Yeah,
I feel like they used to get 6 up
so
ward, right?
well, it's now I think that's represented by the -2 for the magic resistance in the because it was always an additional dice for the ward, so for an additional dice for magic resistance in 6th at least.
Right. Yeah, fair. But they are a good hiding place if you want to take a Slayer hero.
See, I think the utility of having a lone Slayer hero is has a lot to be said for it as well. Rather than getting tied up in this large unit,
Yeah,
having being able to like 360 charge arc things and not letting people flank you to have this bubble
yeah,
of like
yeah, true.
9 inches potentially of like charge range is very good for that Slayer's role, that Demon or Dragon Slayer's role.
Yeah,
So let's get into the gyrocopters, Ian. The
okay.
gyros.
I've always liked them, but now they are a fantastic way to make people feel bad. Um, so in one of our first games that we played, I took 4 individual gyrocopters,
Mm-hmm.
and we both decided that that was too much.
Yeah, being only six. I
That,
think the problem mainly is that they're 60 points each, which is so
yeah,
low, so low. It's like the same points as a
three
Chaos Spawn, and
3 wounds, toughness 5, and a 4 up save.
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
similar to a Chaos Spawn, but what a Chaos Spawn can't do is fly and drop bombs
And shoot a flamer.
and shoot a
Yeah.
flamer. Yeah,
Or it could have a flamer or a minigun. It's dealer's choice. But yeah,
yeah. I
they're
think
good.
they're very good. I'd be careful. Like you in our game, Vanguard did them up. Now I'd be a bit more cautious than that.
Yeah,
Go go for flying over people in the second turn and then flaming them. I would say
yeah,
it's it's they will die, but they are very tough for units that would traditionally take out like these lone things. They're very tough to get rid of. Or when I say lone
yeah,
things, I mean like say they're the equivalent of fast cav, but in a dwarf style, but
yeah.
much tougher than other fast cav.
They are the best fast cab roll that you can probably have.
I would say so. I would definitely
Yeah.
say so. I don't think we need
But
to. Do we need to do any more on
not really.
gyrocopters?
They're they're they're
And
very good.
you can fit how many of them in a special choice?
I don't know. Whatever 1,000 divided
Like
by 60 is.
that many.
But
Gyro bombers, rare
Java Bomber.
choice.
Yeah. So they
These are
are
here to
skirmisher.
no, but what they are is there to fill out. Once you hit your 50% points cap on gyrocopters, they're
You can
there
have
to
another
fill out the other
25%.
25%. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
I don't think these are nearly as good. Not just losing skirmisher, but also the main thing that you'll be doing with them is just the same as a gyrocopter for more point for a third for half more points.
The gyro only does it once though. So he drops 1 bomb.
Oh no, I mean the brimstone gun. I think is the main thing that you'll be
Oh
doing
right.
with a gyrocopter,
Okay.
and it's much lower. The bomb, like is quite good, but I don't think it's
I
absolutely
think
brilliant.
it could be really good. A 3 plus is where it gets good.
Strength 4 hits on a template, so it's getting maybe a bunch of partials and one solid hit.
Yeah,
It's
what's good about the bomb though is because you all you have to do is fly over a unit.
yeah,
So I could fly over the very corner of a unit of 20 spearmen or 30 spearmen, and the
yes,
template goes to the middle of the unit.
yeah. But if rather than having to have that like finesse and model positioning of a gyro bomber, why would I not take a stone thrower? or a cannon, or a bolt thrower. Any of
Because
which will do just as many. In fact, the cannon is an additional AP, and a lot of
yeah,
times you struggle for AP. Like stone throwers, I can sit them at the back and not have to wait a turn before being able to fly over a unit. It's just
okay.
doing it from turn one.
Once you've taken your 3 war machines,
Yeah. Don't you
would
need
you?
6 in 2,000 points?
We're playing 1999. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're pretty cool, and also, what is it? Flight of the Valkyries? Is that
Yes.
the?
Yeah, yeah. Or like various Vietnam music or
Yeah,
yeah, they
whatever.
I like the idea of unit. I like gyrocopters just as a thing,
Yeah,
but I don't think gyro bombers are enough better than a gyrocopter because a gyrocopter is so cheap.
yeah. A gyro bomber is so much slower. It's fly 8 instead of fly 9, but the
Yeah,
fact that you're close order and not a skirmisher, so you act like a monster. So you can't just spin
yeah,
around and fly over a unit again.
yeah. Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. Like
yeah,
and gyrocopters are just so good.
yeah.
So
What
on to
you
the
get one
war
more with?
machines section.
Yeah, sure.
Now, first we get like the old grumblers war machines, and that is the bolt thrower for 55 points, Ian.
Yeah, sticks and stones,
55.
pretty
And
good.
grudge throwers 95 points. Now, actually, this is a stupid way to do it. Let's do bolt throwers then cannons. So because they
Okay.
have a similar
Yeah.
role,
Okay.
both going through tracing through ranks and destroying stuff. I think the bolt thrower with what is it, the rune of accuracy to gain that +1 strength and ignoring armor saves,
Skewering. Yeah.
skewering is
Yeah. Yeah.
excellent,
It becomes
absolutely excellent.
85 points. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
you've got
still,
yeah. Strength 7, no armor save. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
yeah, it's
Uh,
absolutely brilliant.
the difference we notice with bolt thrower and cannon is a cannon hits 1 per every model it goes over. So the
Yes,
maximum of 1 per rank or file, whichever way you're shooting. Whereas the bolt thrower seems to say if you shoot in the front,
you get
you
this
do get 1 per rank, and if you shoot in the side, you get 1 per file. So you could get a lot more hits with a bolt thrower.
because you're
'Cause
not tracing specific lines to get to
yeah,
it.
yeah, you're in
You're
that
just
side arc.
getting the potential maximum.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I
it's
know
like
the strength drops off, but like most things are toughness 4 when it's in a ranked up unit. And
most stuff's toughness 3 in a ranked
oh,
up
well,
unit.
so most stuff like what I mean is nothing really is toughness 5 in a ranked up
Oh,
unit.
okay, yeah, for sure.
Can't think of anything off the top of my head. And so that means you two up, two up on a 6 on a strength 6, 3 up on a strength 5. So you're already going through 3 ranks
Yeah.
before it's a 4 up, and ignoring armor is, I would
Yeah.
say, is better
Oh,
than
yeah.
wounding them all on a 2.
Yes. It's just the roll to hit.
Yeah,
That is
but
the only.
you never go into misfire because it's a roll to hit,
Yeah, true. True, true, true.
and you
And yeah,
can.
with your engineer there, you can if you roll that 1, that's where you splurge your engineer special.
Well, just going back to the engineer entry, he's a character, isn't he?
Correct, yeah.
Is he not able to join the crew and fire the weapon?
In ye olde editions, yes. I couldn't find where they could because he isn't infantry. Sorry, they're not infantry, they're war machine.
Right. Okay. Right. Well, we'll just leave it at that then. But he's yeah. I'm really on the side of bolt throwers now. On the side of
Yeah.
cannons,
Yeah.
no to hit roll. You've got your high strength, so you're going to be nailing, say, like a dragon or things like that much more easily,
Yeah.
like with the to wound roll.
Yeah.
You
But
haven't
your
gone.
cannons are D3 wounds when you do hit that dragon, whereas a bolt thrower is always 2.
Yeah,
So it's half the time it's better. Is the bolt thrower.
yes, yeah. It's Now they're both fairly comparable points once you've got that rune of skewering.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah,
you
yeah.
don't need to have the rune of skewering on the bolt thrower, but
But why would it?
and because then you can have two bolt throwers per cannon.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That is true. But you are still limited by 0 to 3 per 1,000 points.
yeah.
So
This also is true.
yeah, so if you're playing 2K, then yeah, you could have 6 bolt throwers. Um,
Well, also, if I
for
just wanted a base of artillery but didn't want to put too many points in, I could have two bolt throwers and a grudge thrower, and have a fairly well-rounded artillery base
yeah,
for only 200 points.
yeah, we'll finish cannons first, but you can also put runes on the cannon to make it reliable.
Yes, by
So
re-rolling the misfire dice.
yeah, and so that makes it almost as reliable as the bolt thrower. For the bolt thrower can never misfire. The cannon's probably not going
Yeah.
to. But if it does, yeah, it can just kill itself. So then, yeah, then we can swap to the grudge thrower.
Yes.
And I think the strongest part of that, yes, it's a template. Yes, blah blah blah. It's old, so you don't need gunpowder. It's great. You don't need line of sight because it can fire over your stuff. So you're not clustering all your stuff
On a
on a
hill.
hill or blocking
Yeah.
yourself with your units and stuff, which is something I struggled with in our game. Like I couldn't move forward because I deployed one of my cannons like a pleb. So I had to like move sideways with my iron breakers. But had it been a grudge thrower, he would have just been behind them
Yeah.
and firing every turn.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good addition. I think everyone really should take one, regardless of what else they've got as their artillery, because it allows you to compress your line more
Yeah,
and not get as you say, not get in each other's way.
and it's still cheap. 95 points. I don't know if you need a rune on it, particularly. Maybe the misfire rune, which is only 5 points.
Yeah, and when
So,
when you get a spike in the amount of partials that you roll successes, you
yeah,
can
true.
get a lot more hits than most of the most of the time. You're going to be able to only get your opponent in the front with units that you really want to shoot with your cannons or
Yeah,
bolt throwers. A grudge thrower, land it squarely, potential 9 hits.
yeah. And the guy, if someone's got a 5 wide cavalry unit and they've got their character or their champion in the middle,
Yeah,
the
the whole
guy,
is like
yeah,
hit.
D3 wounds
Yeah,
as well. So it's just cool Chaos Lord splat. Yeah.
yeah. So then on to organ guns. Now you didn't have the most success with your organ gun ever,
No.
but the potential. So essentially, how it works now is you roll two artillery dice. They've both got to be a misfire for you to misfire. If one misfire's rolled, you only get -1 to hit, and then you add the amount of shots together and roll them with your ballistic skill.
Yeah, you roll to hit, which is a change from
Other
old
additions, yeah.
Because
Now,
they used to just be no-brainer, right? Whereas now rolling to hit.
yeah, and I think they're much more reliable, as in like to not explode,
Yeah.
but you're not getting the sheer amount of hits you used to. I quite like them. I still find them scary. Still have to avoid them. Not
Yeah.
it's not the glory days anymore, but also
I never got to play that. I only ever got it against me. But yeah, for me, I think the game that we had, they spiked down. They never got a chance to spike up.
I think we both spiked
Uh,
down all game. I like, it's
even, yeah, yeah, but there were flaws. Um, but yeah, I think they're cool. The engineer again, allowing the reroll ones if you roll those ones.
mm,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
yeah, and you can re-roll the misfire, and then if you don't get a misfire, choose to re-roll the ones. So you've got that like sort of double benefit from the
True.
engineer.
Yeah. So
And
2 engineers is what I'm hearing.
of
That's
course,
what you need.
Well, you can't get two engineers because you're spending all your points on runesmiths.
True.
Flame cannons, Ian. So a flame cannon is a strength 5 AP -1 flamer template. To
Yep.
fire it, you put the template with the teardrop away from you and the shot and the small end on your base. You can move it
Yep.
forward up to 12, so that gives you a range of 20 up to now, and then roll the artillery dice and move it forward that amount of inches. So it has a maximum range of between like 22 and 30, depending on what you roll. And if you roll a misfire, it could potentially explode and do all the artillery stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
It,
Um,
it's
so it could
okay.
shoot what? 22, 22 inches from the small end. So you've then got your teardrop over that. Okay.
Yeah. Now it's one thing. I think this role is filled to get a flamer template is filled better because of the reliability of the gyrocopter. Because you can just fly into position and then whack the template down.
Yeah.
I think getting that amount of hits is just filled better. I can get two gyrocopters for a flame cannon, not
Yeah,
have to
you
risk
also
misfire. And
yeah, right. So you also because of the artillery dice, if someone is close-ish in range, you could shoot completely over their head, which
yeah,
would just be which would be quite sad. But yeah. Oh well.
oh well.
Oh well. Yeah. I
Well,
don't think I'd take one.
so to wrap up, I think of the list because this is the last page of the dwarf list. I think dwarves are actually in a really good place this edition. They've got enhanced maneuverability because of the drilled,
Yeah.
as well as being able to stack that a bit more if you take an anvil. And I think, well, especially hammerers, right? They've got some
Yeah.
real punch in combat. Dwarf lords are absolute tanks. Ian, have you got any closing thoughts?
Yeah.
No,
You are
some deficiently.
you're yeah, ticking every box. I'm glad that they have a downside, which is being slow, but then marching column and drilled helps you get around that to some extent. It could mean that you're out of position because you've marched forward too fast.
Yeah.
Um,
You also
but
need to be
otherwise,
careful of that marching column because although you can move out of it and charge, if you get caught on the back foot by getting charged in a marching column, your flank is massive, and you could, yeah, you need to be a bit careful with it.
and you don't get any
So,
rank bonus
mm,
as well. So you are potentially putting yourself out there to be a sitting duck. Um,
yes, and then just getting stuck
and
in that marching column as well.
yeah, yeah, true. But yeah, I think dwarves are pretty cool. I'm excited to be old enough to be able to do an army and actually like stroke my beard and be grumpy about stuff, which is nice.
Yeah,
Um,
I do think dwarf players do tend to end up looking more and more like dwarfs as they go on.
yeah, they also only have really short tape measures because they don't actually have to do any sort of measuring, which is nice. Because you just say I'm 8 inches in front of your unit and I roll my artillery dice on my cannon.
Yeah,
I go, I'm not going to move this turn, so you don't have to do that. Now,
you've got
now all
like
you need is a tape measure. You just
you
need a tape measure now for
9 inches.
checking if you're in half range and falling back in good order, probably. That's it. Yeah, dwarves haven't changed. But
they nothing's changed, but everything's changed.
yeah, it's completely different, and they're doing it the same.
Yeah. So if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to do all the YouTubey stuff. Uh, if you do, let me know that you like this sort of content, so I'll prioritize it and do more. If you really like it, there is a Patreon link below where you can get yourself a bounty tray, dice, access to the Discord, as well as audio versions of these videos and early release. And with that, we'll catch you next time.
See you
In a
later.
bit.